Tokobot is a platforming game for the PSP where you're basically running around environments with the help of a bunch of crazy little prehistoric robots. So the story is that you're this little kid named Bolt who is a kind of baby Indiana Jones. You're working for this guy named Dr. Cranewood. He's sort of like an archaeologist, so you're going through these ruins, and that's where you find the Tokobots, and then you realize that you need to use the Tokobots to find more Tokobots and then uncover their mighty secret of the ancient robots. The story is predictable and not that interesting. The gameplay is a lot more interesting. In the game, you collect these little robots, and the little robots follow you around. And depending on what formation you're using, depends on what the robots do. There are three sort of basic formations in the gameplay: U, V, and circle, and they actually look nothing like the shape. They're either lined up horizontally next to you, in a straight line behind you, or in a circle around you. And in the different formations, you can do something called joint actions, which means that your character holds hands with all the Tokobots, and then you can use them to either attack enemies or navigate around the environment. When you're in the U formation, which is the horizontal line one, the Tokobots will be evenly placed on either side of you, and then you can press the button, the action button, to spin around. And so you, as the axis, and the Tokobots will spin around, making a little pinwheel, and anything you knock into will get knocked. So that includes breakable objects in the environment, like crates and vases, or enemies. So aside from the horizontal line one, there's the V formation. And that formation, what you do is they line up in a straight line behind you, and when you hold hands with them, you can launch them over your head, so from behind you over front. You can use that to attack enemies from the top down, but it's also probably mostly used for making ladders. You can use the V formation to launch the Tokobots over your head, and they'll latch onto the top of the platform, and then you can climb up the Tokobots and get up to the top. The last formation is the circle formation, and the Tokobots just circle around you, and use that mostly to smash either levers or something on the ground, so you'll just all jump up together and then like ground pound. Though you're traveling through these archaeological ruins, most of the environment looks kind of the same. At the end of each sort of section, there's a boss fight, and the boss fights are pretty interesting. And you have to use either the different formations and different ways to attack the bosses, or you can put a big hammer and destroy the boss pretty quickly. At the end of each of the levels, you'll uncover another formation or another plan, and the objective is to get through and find all of those, as well as collect all the Tokobots before the enemies do. Well, this game is going to be great for anyone who's into platformers. This is probably the first really strong platformer for the PSP. It's a really good technical platforming game. The gameplay is really where it shines. So if you're into sort of figuring out puzzles and jumping around and sort of navigating through environments, you're really going to enjoy this. The fighting in the game is sort of secondary, so if you're looking for something where you're doing a lot of combat, you're not going to find that as Tokobot's strong point, but the platforming is really, really quite strong.